Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine.
Yo, what up, people? What up, people? We're back for another episode of Just Jermaine podcast, and I'm here with Erik Norwood, one of the best drummers in the land.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate that, boy. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Now, those of you who is new to the podcast, this podcast is about engineers, producers, songwriters, lawyers, executives, you name it. Anybody that's in the business, even some outside people who want to do this. That's who this podcast is for. We're going to be diving into actual conversations that we have inside of the studio. We will be getting a little technical about a couple of things when we start, if we jump into EQing and compression and stuff like that. So, Erik, check this out. How long have you been playing drums?
Been playing drums for quite a minute, man, since I was 3 and now 29. It's about a good year, about a good 26 years now.
26 years.
My math ain't the greatest. Yeah.
You've been drumming for 26 years. I've been engineering for 15 years. So when people come up and say, man, how did you get so good? That's like one of the worst questions to ask somebody who's been doing it for double digits in years.
Right. Yeah.
There's no other answer. Like, bro, it's experience.
Just do it. Just practice. Yeah.
You just got to get in there and do it.
Jump out there, man.
Yeah. You definitely. So how long you been playing live and how long you been actually playing like live gigs? And then how long you been doing like studio sessions?
So live gigs, I know I've been doing longer. As far as studio sessions, I don't want to say 8 years. Maybe about 7 years. When I moved out here, I started doing studio sessions. Joined a few groups and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they were able to put out some singles and stuff like that, just to be able to be picked to play, to be the drummer on the situations. But and as far as live, I've been playing live, for quite some time now, even in New York, doing gigs and stuff like that. So definitely live longer. I don't know the years to be exact, but yeah.
Okay. Well, you've been in the game for 26 years. I know definitely you done played for some big names.
Yeah, man. I've been blessed to, accompany a few people, whether it's been at church, from church to, even outside the church, different situations, recordings and TV tapings and stuff like that. So, it's just been a blessing, a great opportunity. Have great opportunities have been placed in front.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
so you've been playing from a beginner's level all the way up to a professional level.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about tuning.
Okay.
Because we both know I engineered in the church environment. I know you drummed in that church environment, and we both have ran across a set where it was not well tuned at all. So if you can get some tips, let's say if you can get some tips to any of the drummers that's out there that's just getting started with drumming, or either some guys who've been drumming that just got poor tuning skills, if you can give them some advice, what would you tell them?
To be honest, and I'll put this little disclaimer out there. I've never had any. I've never taken any drum lessons or any drum classes. Never went to school for playing drums or music. I never marched. I wish I did. So a lot of my skills, that I developed or picked up was literally, life lessons or learning or even listening to live albums and stuff like that. And just, I'm a sponge, you know what I mean? And then aside from being a sponge, it's just like I soak up what I hear, and I'm so used to, I have a great memory. So I can remember what live recording drums is supposed to sound like and somewhat try to tweak my drums to, that standard. But, and as far as tuning, man, there's several different ways. A lot of people tune different, even if you want to look up online and stuff like that. But long and short, man, is basically you pick your preference of the head. And it depends on the music, the record that you're recording. If you're doing a studio session, it depends on that head, pretty much. What are you looking for? A rock sound, a drier sound, a more wet sound? Certain time heads, they ring more. And it's a bunch of little different techniques, Some people tune in a star form. You know, like literally you start on one end and then you go up across the drum, and then you basically make a star. You do everything finger tight. I typically live or studio. That's the crazy part. Like, I may be wrong, don't quote me, but live or studio. If I'm putting first heads on, I definitely change the resonant head. Those are the bottom heads as well, and I typically put those on, and then I will tighten them. Not when first off, I play rhythm. So, you know, just to be clear. And there are other great heads out there. You know, Aquarium is sweet. I'm not a big fan of Evans, to be honest. They have a few, you know, heads that work. Long and short though, man, I tune the bottom of my resonant heads real quick, finger tight, and then I place the top heads on, and then I finger tight those. Then I start tweaking. I always have the bottom heads tighter, a little bit tighter than the top heads, and then, you know, as I tune, I play them and get them to my liking. So, you know, once I'm done, I'm done. To me, that has worked. And it depends. Tuning also depends on the type of drum you have, like the brand of drum. And you gotta know certain drums, they're not, they come with certain flaws. Some drums lose tuning. I've heard some steel drums lose tuning, you know.
Right.
So things like that. A lot of people prefer wood frames or wood shells. Yeah. But yeah, man, it is really on your preference and what you're playing, to be honest. It's really what you're playing.
And do you think tuning also plays a big factor depending on the room?
Definitely. You have to tune to the room. You definitely, like all of that matters. All of that matters, and you'll hear it in the playbacks. You know, like, if it's not sweet, it ain't sweet. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go there and fix it. A lot of people use, you know, moon gels or what's the clear ones? Drum dots, or, you know, even gas tape. You know, hey, you can work wonders. I've seen people do it. You know, or you could even go for certain sounds. You tune your drum a certain way and then put a cloth over it if you want to go for that old punchy sound or, you know, muffled sound. Yeah. So, yeah, man.
That's them old jazz records.
Yeah.
Little simple tricks like that, man. I mean, hey, you just dropped a lot of nuggets right then when it comes to tuning, because I have seen people come in the studio and drums are not tuned at all. And then they come, and then once they're finished, and then I tell them, like, yo, you're going to tune your kit? They're like, yeah, it's already tuned. And I'm saying to myself, like, there's no way that this kit is tuned.
Yeah, man. I mean, that matters, bro. Like, to be honest with you, man, first off, you want your drums to sound good naturally.
Right.
The more I mature, the more I jump into engineering and studio sessions, even engineering sessions myself. I try to stray away from plugins, if I'm mixing a session. I try to stray away because I still want somewhat of the natural sound drum in my mix, you know, but definitely I want to make the job easier on the engineer. You get in good with your engineer, you don't have to worry about that. You know, the record is going to come out good. You guys can communicate and he can better understand what you're looking for.
Right.
You know, what sounds you're looking for. So definitely, man, I mean, while you're setting up in the studio session, you know, serve as fast as possible. But make sure you're comfortable and make sure everything's to your liking and be professional and get it done. But, you know, if the sound engineer, hey, I need you to kill that ring real quick. You know, like you told me at the church one time, hey, your ring, it shouldn't ring past 4 seconds. And look, I took that and ran with it.
Right.
And from then on, you know, even with that, it's based on your tuning because you don't necessarily have to, some people are like, oh, it was ringing too much. All right, let me get a moon gel. Nah, you don't necessarily have to do that. Figure out where you need to tweak it. Or use half a moon gel. Sometimes you use too much moon gel and it dead it too much.
Right, and you don't want it dead because you know you want some of that ring. You want some, but you don't want it. You don't want it all. Yeah, you don't need all of it. And that was a big thing inside of the church that we was at our church. That whenever you was playing, it sounded different from what, of course, when the congregation is in there, and a lot of people can't hear it, but we can. A lot of people don't pay attention to that.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, throw in there. It does depend. Like we said before, the room matters.
Right.
How you tune based to the room, and if the room is treated, if in a church setting, the walls are not always treated. You know, it's not always treated. The ceilings are not always treated. You make drum sound,
That's like one of the most important things ever, especially in the live environment. That room got to sound good.
Right.
The room,
if you can seclude.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, that room, Because when we played, the walls wasn't treated at all, so sound was just reflecting everywhere, and you heard
even
it.
The color.
Even the color. And see, a lot of people don't understand that colors matter. Dark colors absorb sound.
Man, I say it all the time, and people laugh, and I'm like, nah, it's serious. Like, serious, man. Like, you put bright colors in there, it's gonna just be bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't absorb it as well as it's supposed to.
Right.
That's why most people don't record until nighttime. Like, for instance, I tell people to do a sound test and do it at night. And I say, okay, if you don't believe me, during the daytime, go inside of your studio and just yell in the mic. And then do it again 9 o'clock at night. Cut the lights off. It makes a big doggone difference. People don't understand that the atmosphere changes from day and night. The air cools. The air cools off. It's much warmer during the daytime, so you're going to get a warmer sound during the day. But and when you record at night, most people have the air conditioners blasting wide open. It's a reason for that. I'm trying to tell you, man. It's a big reason. Like, okay.
Black holds, I mean, even the color black, bro, it holds heat.
Yeah.
You put on a black shirt, you're going to be hotter in a black shirt than you are with a white shirt on.
Just like when you were setting up your studio and I told you to do the light test.
Right.
A lot of people don't know about the light test.
Right.
You just take a flashlight, put it to a color. Cut all the lights off in the room, and you take your material or whatever you're using and hold the light all the way to it. See how much of that light comes through it. That tells you, and that's the perfect example to show you at how much sound is going through it. A lot of people don't know that. They don't understand it. Because you could take a white t-shirt and a black t-shirt, right? You hold a light to a white t-shirt, what does it do? It makes the room brighter.
Right.
So now your sound is traveling more. But you put it over a black t-shirt, it dampens the room. Now the room is dark.
Dampens the room, right.
Yeah, now the room is much darker, and there's a lot of your sounds that are not going to be reflecting around, like feeding back into the microphone. Right. A lot of people don't, like, especially in a live environment, they don't understand that a lot of your rings, your negative feedback, it comes from exactly what it is. It's feedback.
Right.
Just like that day, I can't remember what day it was, but we had a real low tone inside of the church, and it was like humming real bad. And it was the kick drum. It was the kick drum mic, because the sound was reflecting off the shield, going right back into the mic. Right. But when I backed the shield up some and pushed the mic up some to create some space, now the sound had somewhere to travel. So now the sound can properly travel like it's supposed to, and the feedback went away just for mic placement. People don't understand simple things like that. It makes a huge difference.
Everything matters, man. Detail to the T. Like, when I was doing sessions as a young coming up, I didn't know none of this, you know. Now, mic placement got to be right. It depends on what you're looking for. Right. You want more attack or you want more tone. Right. You know what I mean? Like, everything, like you said, from the colors to the mic placement to the spacing to the right acoustics on the wall, everything matters to the tuning. So yeah, man, definitely.
So now that you got your studio built, got it up and going, and now that you recording your own sessions, what do you think about EQing and compression?
Aside from having a template set up of something like where it's like, for those who don't know what a template is like, I already have a previous recording that I did that I lumped the sound to the drums. So I would just go in there and drop and record new files, basically. Right. And if the sound, the polish would already be on. So aside from that, me learning the engineering, I do every session now natural. I start off natural and work my way up, man. Like, what do I want to hear more of? What do I need to compress more of? Like, what has too many overtones and stuff like that? Whether it's the snare or time one, and it's typically time one, it's the practice time, Right. But even compression on that, and you can't go too heavy on it, because you still, like we said, you want some of that ring. So I'll compress it a little bit, just enough where, boom, I hit it, you'll hear it, and then it can maybe split 2-3 seconds, or, that fast, all right, we hear the little resonance of that, and that's it. We're moving on to the next tone. Not too much where it's like, and even with reverb, don't go crazy with that.
Right.
Go crazy with the reverb. You take away from the attack. In my opinion.
Actually, it does, because you're not getting that smack like you want it. You just getting getting a bunch of room.
Yeah, and exactly. You get a bunch of room, and you're thinking it's making your drum sound fuller, but it's taking away from that attack, that natural, that first tone, that tone.
It does make the drum sound fuller, but that's why you got room mics.
Right. Exactly.
That's why you have room mics.
So there you go.
So you can bring in how much room you want to without losing the attack of the kick.
Yep.
A lot of people don't do that. I don't know why people don't do that.
Yep. Exactly. Bro. Exactly. To me, and that's crazy. It's so many different ways to think about engineering and mixing and stuff like that. It's crazy that I'm learning it now, but like, bro, why would you have so much reverb on your tom mics that's on your toms or sitting in front of your toms, and you have room mics, and you have overheads left and right?
And some toms have a natural reverb.
Say it again?
Some toms that ring inside of certain toms gives it a natural reverb. Right,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Some heads ring, like even Birch toms, like they sing louder. Like the Birch wood, like they sing louder. Well, in my opinion, from my experience on PDPs, they sweet. They will sing. So it's not a need to put too much up there.
Right. Because this is one thing. I'm gonna drop a nugget on a lot of people. Less is more.
Yep.
I know people don't understand it. True musicians, true engineers and producers understand that less is more. When I open up an EQ on the drums, I'm taking out. I'm not adding anything. I'm not adding nothing. I'm taking out. If you want a certain frequency to pop, remove them negative frequencies that's around that frequency that you need.
Right.
It makes that.
Bring them down.
Right. You bring those down. Now that one that you want to pop is now standing out more, and you didn't boost anything. See, a lot of people don't know that. That works a lot. That's either live or studio. It works regardless.
And it just hit me, to be honest, bro. I feel like if you set your EQs right, your pre-production,
right.
If you want to, you set your pre-production, it'll save you from having to do a lot of post work, man. Like, I've seen people who record and then, like, their crash will bleed into something, or their toms will bleed into too much, where it's not they will go up until the actual hit,
right,
and slide forward a little bit, and then cut in between there and the next hit, just to stop the extra bleeding. And it's like, bro, if you would just do some pre-work, get the EQs out, test it real quick, you ain't got to worry. You can just roll. You can
start before the end. You want to stop bleed, move your mics.
Even what was I about to tell you, man? Even with, and that's another thing that I've tried to work on, getting away from so many plugins. Like, I never started with that anyway. Like, I learned about different ones here and there, and when to use them and how to use them, what's the best way to use them. Because I still, like I said, want that authentic sound of the drum. I still want to include that. And some cats where I've seen in sessions, like you said, they don't tune their drums. And it's like, when you hear the playback, it's like, bro, how many plugins you have on here? Like, because these drums it's showing so much color, but the heads are thinny in the studio on the drums.
Right.
Or the walls aren't treated. Like, how many compressors do you have up here? You feel me? Like, it's no longer the natural drum. If that's the case, you might have to record it with an electric kit.
Right. And it was a guy who sent me a drum track, right? He was like, he wanted me to mix the drums for him. I get the track, and it was like 30 tracks.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, yo, you don't have 30 microphones, bro. So why are there 30 tracks on these drums? And then I looked at the levels. The levels was like -40, like -30, -40. but they were super loud. And I'm like, okay, I already know what that is. Because
The plugins all the way up.
see what he did, he bounced them out with the volumes turned up on the plugins. And then he duplicated the same tracks, which does nothing but increase the volume.
Wow.
And I'm like, why would you do that?
First off, I mean, so he sent it to you to mix?
He sent it to me already pre-mixed, but his pre-mix was some, I ain't gonna lie, I usually don't talk trash about other people's stuff, man, but that mix was some garbage.
Some trash.
It was some complete trash,
like that,
bro. It made the kit sound like pure trash. And don't get me wrong, the dude can play. The dude can really play. Right. He can play. I mean, his hits, his timing, everything was right. But I'm like, dude, and I had to tell him, I sent it back to him. I said, yo, send me the raw files.
Right. Start from scratch, man. Hey, it's vital, bro. Like, it is important for musicians to know cues, frequencies. Like, you was telling me a little bit about frequencies, man, and I still don't fully have it, but look, I look at it now, and I somewhat get the idea of what they're talking about, you know, or what it is, and I can mess around with it and figure it out, you know, get where I want, and maybe even adding EQs, bro, like stock settings or stock, add stock EQs in, right?
Right.
And then EQ it around to what you want it to sound like. So if I wanted a ballad snare, if I wanted a rock sounder snare, I can go in on Logic, grab a rock sounder snare EQ. Boom, okay, I see what the settings are. Let me adjust it a little bit more. I want more highs. Let me bring the highs. Put some of these waves in. Bring in the mids. Bring down the highs. You know, that's how you learn.
Right.
Until you can do it naturally, that's how you learn.
The dopest thing about this, and that's one thing I'm really really digging this conversation because I'm dealing with a musician who understands audio. A lot of musicians don't understand audio, so they be requesting stuff that they shouldn't even be requesting for. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing no name calling or nothing like that. But I'm pretty sure you have dealt with some individuals that would turn their monitor all the way through the roof. They want their monitor super loud. They want their instrument to outplay everybody, including the lead singers.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why would you try to outdo the lead singer? I'm like, we need to hear the song, not you.
Yeah, play to the room. All of that matters, bro. Play to the room. Play to the room, and then especially in a band setting, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely, you don't want to be overpowering anybody. Church, you know, you catch the spirit, you know, whatever. Let the Lord have His way. But you know, that's what I meant. Like they leave room for error, or they leave room for feel.
Right.
You know, if the spirit took over, but other than that, no, y'all should be locked. Everybody should be same level, be professional. You should definitely be under, or blended with the vocalist or the lead singer or whoever. But your wedge should never be that high.
And see, in the live session, it's worse. Cause in the studio, if I see somebody trying to outplay everybody, I'm gonna just turn your preamp down. and then your levels is back even with everybody. No matter how hard you sitting there sweating and playing, I'm gonna turn your pre down, and you ain't going no louder than what I told that pre to do.
Get good with your sound engineer, man. Communicate what you want because it can go left or right. Look, you over there think you're killing, man, and he turned around, he got you at -4, like, while everybody else is at 0.
And it's crazy because as an engineer, this is something that goes unnoticed because you can get a pastor. Let's use a church setting, right? That pastor would get up and say, "Boy, the praise team did their thing. Man, the band sound amazing." Oh, what about the audio engineers? We don't get no love, bro. We get no love whatsoever.
Y'all the mule, the black sheep.
We get treated like stepkids, bro. It's crazy. And it's crazy that they do that, but you use one word in each one of those sentences. You gave them praise, right? You said they sounded amazing. The band sounded great. Where you think the sound came from? It came from
That's straight up, bro. That's
exactly.
why I make it my business to, if I know the sound, man, yo, man, that boy's killing, man. Appreciate you, man. Great job. Well, if I don't know the song, then I'm going to go up and shake his hand, yo. I appreciate, the sound engineer is so vital, bro, for us musicians, for producers, for artists in the studio and outside the studio live setting. They're even more vital in a live setting, bro, like, because you can play loud, but if your drums is loud, if he don't know what he's doing on the sound, it's going to sound even worse, bro.
Right.
Or if you playing your heart out and it's not cutting through the house, he got you, bro. Yo, look, don't play so hard, I got you. I'll bring that over here.
Right.
If you need your house mix so you can hear how loud you are, I got you. So, look, that's why me as a musician, I make it a practice, man, to applaud the sound man or tell him I appreciate it. And it's some sound man, even like you, bro, it's easy communication. Yo, bro, what's that extra ringing in the kick? Hey, I'll shoot you a text or anything.
Right.
Hey, bro, could you turn past up a little bit? The weather has everything to do with sound. You're hearing all that.
Yep.
The
weather affects it bad. Because every time the weather change, Pastor would mess around and lose his voice.
Yeah.
He coming there, sinuses tore all up. So now everybody already know we got to boost him even more than what he was already boosted.
Cold. The drums don't sound the same.
Right.
In the studio or live, if they're cold. They don't sound the same.
Everything matters.
Outside, the drums are warm.
Bruh, do you remember that morning we had got to the church and it was brick outside and they didn't have no heat on in the church? They literally turned the heat. Yeah, dude, they turned the heat on 5 minutes before service started.
Right.
I was like, yo, it's about to sound crazy in here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it did. Everybody back there looking at me. I'm like, yo, I can't fix that. I can't fix that. Y'all just gotta wait.
Yeah, let it warm up. Yeah, and that's even with studio sessions, bro. When I step into them situations, like I shared a little bit real quick. Just if it's cold in there, let the drums warm up.
Right.
I'll warm up. I used to have, even when I started out with my studio in my mother's garage, man. It's in the garage, bro. So whatever the temperature is outside, that's what it's gonna be. And that's how my drum gonna be. And I can't do a studio session with my drums cold.
I'm gonna drop a golden nugget on you with your mics. Let them warm up, especially condenser mics. With condenser, you're using 48 phantom power anyway. Turn the 48 phantom power on. Open up the session. Give it 30 minutes before I even start a session. All the condensers are already on. You've been to the studio. You've been to a studio and had a session with me. How many times you came to the studio? They was already on. Wow. I had warmed the mugs up because I like for the diaphragms to go ahead and warm up.
Right.
Because I know it's crunch time. And I'm like, okay, they probably do 2 or 3 run-throughs. And if they really know the song, they probably just say, hey, I'm ready. Let's go.
Right.
But when gotta be ready. I can't tell them, no, man, we need to wait another 15 minutes for the mics to warm up. Man, artists and musicians don't want to hear that. They're like, yo, I got a gig in an hour, bro. I got to go. Mm-hmm. And I got to break this kit down too. It's a 3-minute song. Let's go. That's why I'm always ready. Money. Time is money. Time is definitely money. And when it comes to the musicians, y'all, it's so much respect because, like I said, I don't play an instrument. So I always tilt my head off to y'all. And look, any future engineers out there, never try to tell the musician how to be a musician. And musicians
let's all play our lane.
Play your lane. Stay in your lane. Like LeVar Ball said, stay in your lane.
That's it.
You got to. Let the engineer do his job. Let the musicians do their job. And you guys come together for one job. For one solid sound. One band, one sound.
It's a team.
It's a team, bro.
A team, bro. It's like people get it twisted, man. Like, sound man tripping or he ain't doing this or he don't know what he's doing. Sound man trash. Nah, bro. He's working under a lot of pressure, bro. He not only got to, depending on if he by himself, he got to win front house and house mix. You feel me? Like,
I
you
love when
gotta
somebody
make sure.
I love when somebody try to tell me that I'm some trash.
Right.
Go right ahead. I'm trash.
Right.
And watch me put out
my thing is,
and watch me put out your song without the mix.
right.
let people
Stuff like that can happen, bro.
and then play the song. And what's so bad about it? I'm gonna put a metronome in there so people can hear how what I had to do to get you in timing. Because now you have no timing. Your kit is horrible.
It's right, bro.
But
all
people don't
kind
understand
of bad
it.
Things can happen, bro.
I told you that day. I told you. What did I tell you that day? I ain't scared to say it. Let somebody raise their voice at me and be disrespectful, and we in a live show. I'm cutting your line off.
It's over.
I'm cutting your line off.
That's why it's important to, not like we're not kissing nobody behind, but just be a good person, bro. Have good character, communicate.
Right.
All of that is important, bro. Like, don't play your sound. He don't sound. I'm the musician for all this, so I'm more important. Or I come first. So I'm superior. Nah, bro. We a team. I need you, bro. Because if I can't hear that click track, or if we running stems, how about that?
Right.
If we running stems, and I know the stems, you still know the format, but you wasn't coming with the intention of not playing without the stems. Now you got to play even more forward. So you got to change your approach to the song now. And everything ties in.
Speaking of stems, MD, whoever is bringing the stems, can you please let the sound engineer and the rest of the band know that you're playing with a stem?
Definitely. They got to EQ. Everybody mixes different.
Everybody mixes different.
Level of the house mixes coming in on.
I don't know I don't know what and how much somebody wanted their monitor of the stem. Some people don't even want it.
Hey, yo, here's another thing. Stop turning your track up on your MacBooks or your laptop or your mixes or your interfaces. Like, it's cool you bring that stuff with you. That's why you come for sound check early. And if you don't have time for sound check, find your sound engineer. Quick as possible. And look, I'm learning a few tracks, but I'm doing what you need me to do. Because as soon as you start that track, and if like the drummer say he can't hear it, or the organ player or the keyboard player say he can't hear it, you don't turn it up on your computer. Because when you turn it up on your computer, it's overall.
Right.
Let the sound man adjust that. That's his job.
And people don't understand. I tell people all the time, whatever you do, you're sending that same signal to the board.
Everywhere.
You're sending it everywhere. Everybody that's getting your sound at that time, you're sending that signal. So now I got to make adjustments on everybody's matrix.
So when the artists are on stage and once you hit that volume button 3 or 4 more times, just to compensate to help the drummer or the organ player or the bass player,
right?
The people on stage are looking surprised because they get their ears fried on stage.
Exactly. And what's so bad about we not on stage, so we don't hear it.
Right.
We don't hear it. So, we just know something in the house changed.
Yeah.
And now we looking down at the board. We looking at the board, looking at everybody's levels to see who maxing out, who peaking. Because see, with me, I keep everybody levels at least -4 and below. And then I drive the overall mix up. See, then that way I have headroom. So it prevents distortion. You don't need a lot of you don't need a lot of distortion in live anyway. This ain't in case you got rock guitars and stuff like that. But you looking for, especially in a church setting, man, you looking for clarity.
Exactly. You need it. Everybody plays a part. Everybody is just as important, bro. The sound engineer is just in church settings is just as important as the person leading the song.
Right.
It's just as important as the A&D. So it's not like, you under me or my pay grade and then, look, bro, I can really do some damage if I want to from a sound engineer perspective, and vice versa.
Right.
So just be conscious, man, and like you said, bro, like that, bro, like you said, EQs matter, how you tune your instruments. Bass players, some of your bass players want to be real muddy, and that's cool. And, they feel like they're killing, but you ain't got no tone there. And there's a bunch of lows and bottoms, so I'm going to have to bring that up. Like cut it out because your bass is already tuned that low.
Right. And okay, this is another thing when it comes to everybody's overhead. When it comes to miking up overhead, take your measurements from the snare. If you do not take the proper measurements from the middle of the snare to both overhead microphones, you're going to cause some delays. It's going to happen. The timing is going to be off.
Behind the drums.
Right. It's going to phase out. That's exactly what's going to happen. One of those overhead mics are going to phase out because now you got one, because your snare hit that's hitting that left overhead mic is hitting it at 2 millimeters a second. But the right overhead mic hitting it at 4 or 5 millimeters a second. So now you sit here listening to your snare and be like, why does my snare sound like it got delay on it? Why, why is it like this? Why is it like that? So people ask a lot of dumb questions, man, and they really don't look into the right. They don't ask the right questions. Put it that way. I ain't even gonna say dumb questions. People don't ask the right questions. When you like you said earlier, that you got to build a good relationship with your sound engineer. Like when I first came to VPF, I listened to y'all first. I wanted to know how you played. I wanted to know how whoever was on the keys that day. I had to listen to whoever was singing. I needed to understand how they sing, like, because everybody sings different. Everybody, like, sometimes you got people who like to start off slow and then they raise the energy. Some people come out powerful and stay like that the whole time. It's a mix that you got to do with everybody. First of all, you got to know the song that they singing. Especially if you plan on adding some delays in there. You got to know the song so when they hit that certain spot, you can know when to throw that delay in there.
Right. And that's the thing. Sound engineers, their job is not easy. Like, when you doing sound, you actually mix it. If it's a live setting, you're mixing the show. It's not cutting on and then turning up. Y'all good? I leave it there.
Right.
No. Sometimes you may have to add some reverb or whatever, to color the show. Like, that's how you get hired, bro. Like,
right.
It's not cut it on and walk away.
But hey, that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to just walk away. They were like, hey, because I know people like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I can't afford a sound engineer, so I'm a rent one to come in here, set my board up, save it, and we're gonna save the settings, and then I ain't gotta call them back no more. No, bro.
Yeah, and that don't work all the time.
You can't be cheap, bro, because like we was talking about earlier, the atmosphere changes. The temperature changes. Like, stuff happens.
Come on.
What have you seen how many Sundays a piece of equipment in the back went out?
Here's my thing, though. Why would you buy so much equipment and it costs thousands of dollars and be okay with someone not running it? Like, let me go buy this Benz real quick. Let me go buy this Benz real quick. I'm going to sit in the passenger seat and cut the car on and hopefully it goes somewhere. Ain't nothing going to change. But the weather, you're going to be stuck in the rain. If you get what I'm saying, bro, like, it's like, why would I invest this and not have somebody actually put it to use? So I shouldn't have no sound problems. I'm spending thousands of dollars on sound equipment. I shouldn't have no sound problems.
Exactly.
I got the latest gear, none. I don't want to hear nothing about, nothing.
If you're going to invest in the sound, invest in the people.
That's it. You need a sound man at a minimum.
You got to have one.
If you serious, and you plan on, growing with whatever you're doing, bro, you need a sound man. There's no reason you got a band and a lot of equipment and no sound. And we're not even just talking about church. We're talking about in general.
Right, in general, yeah. It's crazy.
Like,
it's like
jazz bands.
It's like going to an audio studio. You're going to pay $100 an hour to rent out a studio, but you're going to tell them, I don't want y'all engineer.
Right, yeah. We're not going to use it. We don't need no engineer. We're going to hit play while the drummer's sitting there waiting.
Right, you're like, bro, you do know you in a whole nother room, right?
Right, bro.
Hey, bro, you in a whole nother room. You in a whole nother room, bro.
Great example. Exactly.
Let me see. Let me see how you work this out. Now there is a way you can do it. You can do. You know what I'm saying? You can do a pre-roll. You can do a pre-roll, and have it set to like 4 or 5 bars and during the pre-roll, and you just hear the metronome going, but you better be counting as you run into your kit to go sit down. You better be counting the bars, because if you missed it when it hit.
We don't got all day, man. I engineer myself, man, learning, even in the studio, bro. Like, I have so much respect for sound engineers, yo, or even studio engineers. I was like, all right, they just put the laptop to their left or their right, wherever they're comfortable, hit play and then play. Nah, you got to hit play, turn around, and be ready to when the track come in. Or let's say you in a situation where you got to have a quick turnaround time. You don't fully know the track. You got to catch the timing of the intro. So some people, they'll hit play and be looking at the computer while they get ready to play.
Right.
And while, as it's rolling, you trying to come right in on that one. If you got a sound engineer or a studio engineer, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
So give me a full count, turn the metronome up a little bit, change the tone of the metronome, is actually bring it in my ear. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Right. And then when you do your metronome, always do 2 tones. Don't do the same tone.
Right.
Do 2 tones.
Right.
One counting the beat and one counting the bars. A lot of people don't change. I don't know why some people don't do it that way. And then if you are doing a count off, a 2-bar count off, then you know it's going to go boop, 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 boop. See, you got to know. Right. So then that way you'll know, bam, I'm coming in right here. But
you know where the one at.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. It's too many mistakes that I see that happens on a day-to-day basis in and out of the studio, live or recording. And even when it comes down to just mixing a record, I see a lot of people making mistakes. A guy hit me up today. He hit me up today, right? And was like, "Hey, can I send you a record? And I just want your opinion on it." He was like, I see you posted some stuff and it sounded pretty dope. So me being the guy that I am, I just said, "Yeah, send me the record." I listened to it and I gave him an honest opinion.
Right.
Once I said, okay, the song is dope overall, but, you know, your vocals is sitting too far in the mix. It's got too much reverb in it, which is bringing away from the production of it. And then on top of that, it's bass heavy. It's okay to have a bass heavy track, but it was distorted.
But you want to be conscious of that, man. Like, even with these Drake records, you could tell different people mixing.
Right.
Not necessarily from back in the day to now. Because, like, even with bass-heavy songs, period, songs with 808s, when you get in the car, bro, you can't even turn it up too loud. Right. Because it booms too much. And it's like, bro, is this mixed like this, or is this just the radio edit, or is this the Apple Music? You know, this is straight off Apple Music. This ain't over YouTube, where the sound has been tampered with, you know what I mean? Right. This is straight off, like, so whoever engineered this joint, you ain't knocked in the studio, but in my car, it sounds terrible. I got to turn the bass down.
And that's crazy. I mean, you know, and it's okay. Engineers, you're not going to always get the mix right on the first time. And it's okay. Right. The mix is not going to always be right. There's no perfect way of mixing. The knowledge that we're dropping today, that Erik and myself is dropping today, is basically so you can understand the ins and outs. And from a drummer's perspective, you can know what a drummer is looking for and what they're checking for. And then if you don't know what questions to ask the drummer, so if you get an unprofessional drummer comes in and he just jumps on the kit and start playing, you can know what to tell them. That was that's the whole purpose of this conversation right here. That's the whole purpose of this conversation. And Erik, I'm so glad that you joined me on today to drop this knowledge, to drop these golden nuggets on the people, man, so they can understand from a drummer's perspective or what you go through in the studio, what you go through from a live studio session, from just being live, period, and a live concert or anything like that. And it's always great to hear from the musicians. It's always great to hear from the engineers and not just hear from the producer or the artist all the time, because that's all you really hear is the producer and the artist, when the producer's just back there telling them what to do and the artist is in there performing. But the artist didn't write the song. The producer didn't write the song. That's why you got songwriters. They got a story to tell. You know what I'm saying?
And you'd be surprised.
Right, you'll be surprised at the stuff they know. Exactly. So I really appreciate you being here. We're coming to an end of this podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And until the next time, keep your ears open, keep your eyes closed, and on the real ones of understanding. Peace.